Cup North America. Good to have your company. It is Porsche Carrera Cup North America in its second series, presented by Visit CaymanIslands.com. The signal yellow GT3 ready to roll off with the cars around this Long Beach circuit. We're on the left-hand coast here in California. 11 corners, 2 miles or thereabouts in terms of the track. And it's an absolute classic and provided very challenging racing conditions, shall we say, for the teams and drivers yesterday. It was a little bit untidy, as we described it. Down towards turn 1, as you sweep down shoreline, it is a great overtaking manoeuvre, as it is potential, should I say, as it is at the end of Seaside Way into turn 9. But quite frankly, everywhere on the circuit, there's a potential of something to happen. Now, this is the 4th race of the season. It's the 2nd race of this weekend. As I said, we were racing here yesterday. And from the start, Kai von Berlo on the pole in one of the 2 green and white cars, had Riley Dickinson going through into second place at turn 1. Bit of a schmozzle at the fountain first time around, with Efren Castro getting together with Justin Oakes and ending up in the plants. Did manage to get it out of there after he trimmed the hedge a little bit, but didn't get very much further. Trenton Estep diving down the inside, hit Grant Torquay, and that started off a bizarre chain of events down at turn 11 that included not just Kai van Berlo but Riley Dickinson having a spin. Van Berlo got it pointing in the right direction and went on to win the race. Dickinson ended up down in 6th position. Problem also later on in the race down at turn number 8 for the number 10 Porsche of Kelly Moss Racing and Vernon McClure. We finished behind the signal yellow GT3 safety car. Van Berlo taking the victory in Pro in Alan Metney, who took the win there. Congratulations to them both as the cars roll off the line. Behind that beautiful GT3 road car, which has been provided for us by the Porsche Experience Centre LA, which is up at Carson City, not too far away. And the bizarre thing about that car is, by the way, tomorrow it's back on the fleet, and we'll have visitors to the visitors to the Porsche Experience Centre driving that signal yellow car tomorrow. Part of the GT experience there. You can work your way up to that on a fantastic site not too far away from us here in Long Beach. I'm John Hindhaugh in the Haggerty Global Broadcast Centre. Jeremy Shaw is here and we are ready to go racing. Jeremy, that's incident, that bizarre set of circumstances with the fluid down on the circuit at turn 11 yesterday, causing a lot of late work for the teams in the convention centre.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and particularly to that number 6 car for Trenton Estep. The front end of that car was absolutely destroyed. They had to cut it off, put on a complete new front clip onto that car. The team for MDK Motorsports was up until 5 o'clock this morning repairing that, and then had a couple of hours sleep at the hotel and come back to finish it off today. They did a magnificent job to get that out again, and also a lot of help from a lot of teams around the paddock, including notably the ACI team, the Advanced Collision Inc. team, which are Advanced Collision, that's what they are. They're used to repairing cars, and they were a lot of help, despite the fact it was one of the ACI cars, Grant Torquay, who was taken out by Trenton Estep when he made that mistake at the hairpin. And Trenton, he put his hand up, totally my fault, he said. It was an optimistic move at the best of times. He also, his foot slipped off the brake a little bit as well, just to compound the problem. So, but he put his hand up, and one of those things, you just got to put it behind you and move forward and get ready, get your head focused for today's race.
So side by side, the two Kelly Moss teammates, Kai van Berlo on pole position, will lead them to the green flag for round 4 of the Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by visitcaymanislands.com. Riley Dickinson with the red trim on his white and green car, the 53 alongside him. Then it's Trenton Estep, TJ Fisher for MDK and Top, Parker Thompson for JDX, and Michael McCann for McCann Racing. The green flag is in the air and we are underway. The 40 minutes has started. The countdown has started round the outside. Here comes Riley Dickinson and his teammate. He's squeezing the pole sitter. He's 3/4 of a Porsche ahead, but down the inside, here comes Estep looking for a lane breaking manoeuvre, and Riley Dickinson almost inevitably goes straight on at turn 1, and everybody, wow, just about avoids him as they go through. My goodness, Parker Thompson was close there as he went through with the JTX racing car. There's a bit of a stack up around the fountain area. Dickinson's gone into the tyre bundle at turn 1. His teammate Kai van Berlo leads Estep down the inside of TJ Fisher at turn 6. They're disputing second position at the moment, with Parker Thompson in 4th as he swings wide and tries to get the cutback. Lee Keane down the inside. There's Dickinson, he's moving again. Remarkably, Dickinson has only dropped down to about 7th position. I can't actually believe what I'm seeing now. A big touch on Seaside for the first time, and Dickinson was right there as well. It's the 13. That's the Chosky car, and don't tell me that's the 11. It is the 11. Dimitri DeMarcos in 311. They've come together and they are in the runoff at turn 9. This will see the signal yellow safety car out on the circuit as they complete the first lap. So drama, Jeremy Shaw, right from the off here in round 4 of the Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by visitcaymanislands.com.
Yeah, that actually wasn't Riley Dickinson in the middle of that pack there. That was the third Racing for Children's car of Michael McCarthy. The 3 cars look almost identical, just slightly different colours on the bottom part of the nose section there. But yeah, that was a big accident there with Dimitri DeMarcos and Varun Choksi got together there on Seaside Way. Most unfortunately, here now comes Riley Dickinson into the pit lane. It might well have some damage on that car, but yeah, it was a mistake clearly there, just trying to get a bit too brave around the outside line. He had a preferred line there going into that first corner, but clearly just carrying a little bit too much speed, not able to get it turned in, and actually Kai van Berlo did a good job. He was going too fast as well, but he just about managed to get it woed up and able to maintain that lead. But wow, that was an bit too exciting, much excitement at the start, but other than that, they got through cleanly, which is hats off to all of these other 30 drivers.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a stack up in the fountain area, but that one came, I think, to naught in terms of damage. But then running down Seaside, and thank you, Jeremy, for that, saw the white and green car, and I saw immediately thought that Riley Dickinson had rejoined, but as you said, it was the third of the 3 Kelly Moss racing cars in those colours, and I'm afraid that it is big damage for both of them. And how did that happen? Well, that was disputing positions with 3 wide just coming out from under the bridge, and the Kelly Moss car squeezed in the middle by Dimitri DeMarcos in the black and red number 11 and the number 13, as we mentioned, that's the white, red and black car, and that machine driven by Varun Choski, the man from Atlanta in Wright Motorsports. They were either side and just squeezed in, and somehow, and I'm not entirely sure how the Kelly Moss car got out of that unscathed, Jeremy.
No, because I think he was in the middle, wasn't he, Michael McCarthy, of those 3 cars. I think it was Varun Choksi on the inside, as you said it was certainly Dimitri DeMarcos on the outside. I think DeMarcos was trying to sort of crowd McCarthy, not knowing that there was a 3rd car on the inside as well. So let's have another look at that.
Spot on, Jeremy.
Into the braking area, DeMarcos definitely moves a little bit right there to sort of begin to try and defend it, but he didn't know there was a third car in there as well. So that was a really unfortunate. Unfortunately, I spoke to Dimitri just a little while ago, and he was a bit disappointed after yesterday. The car was a bit of a handful during the race. There was a bit too much oversteer on entry into the corners that he would have preferred. So they're going to hopefully get that a little bit better for today's race. And he, coincidentally, the grid for this race was set by either each driver's second fastest lap during the brief qualifying session yesterday, and just 13 minutes for each of the classes yesterday, rather than the normal 30. Long story, but that's the bottom line, is 13 minutes only, or the fastest lap that each of them set during the race yesterday. Well, all bar 7 drivers improved their times during the race. The only 2 of the ones who didn't, however, are both of the 311 RS cars, DeMarcos and Lee Keane. So they both slipped back in the order a little bit compared to most of the other contenders. But he was looking to gain more experience. He'd never raced on a street circuit before, DeMarcos, and unfortunately he's found out how quickly things can go wrong here on any sort of a street course.
Yeah, it's very, very quick down there. They came out from turn 8 and DeMarcos had the run on the inside. I'm not sure.
It's just one of them racing deals.
I think that'll go down as a racing incident. DeMarcos on the driver's left looked to be having a good run, but then again, so did Choxy. So yeah. I'm not sure, and I think it would be perhaps a little unfair to apportion blame from there. It is being looked at by the race control. Also, there was an incident between cars. Let me see. 4 and 42. Well, 42 is Bill Smith, the top racing car, and the 4 is the JDX racing car of Robert Hanley. That's been looked at the moment as well. So it's very fast down there at the run from turn 8 to turn 9. Probably as quick nearly as the front stretch, the curving front stretch. So things happen very quickly, as Jeremy Shaw said. 33 minutes just under still to go. Kai van Berlo is at the front of the field from TJ Fisher from Top Racing in second. MDK Motorsports Trenton Estep is in third from JDX's Parker Thompson in third. That's 3, 58, 6 and 9 your top 4. Then it's the 12 311 RS bright red car of Lee Keane, then Michael McCann of McCann Racing. Then in 7th position is the number 7 of Michael McCarthy of Kelly Moss Racing, who was that third of the white and green cars. And the clean-up continues after a very busy weekend from our track services, corner workers and marshals. So we thank them, everyone, for their hard work this weekend, and it appears their work is not over, as they are still working hard down there with just under 32 minutes to go.
And interestingly, I think top 6 cars all run by different teams. Kelly Moss, Top Racing, MDK Motorsports, JDX Racing, 311 RS Motorsport, and McCann Racing. That's pretty cool, isn't it? It shows you how equally matched I think these cars are, and the competitiveness. Good start once again by Justin Oakes for Nola Sport in car number 47. He had a problem yesterday during the race. Can't remember what it was now, but he was leading it from the pole position yesterday. Interesting guy, just in his 2nd season of racing. He's from Texas. He runs a company that does a lot of commercials for different businesses, and he's started racing last season. Had a lot of success in the Trans Am series. Won the SGT title, I think it was, the category there, and now moving into the Porsche Carrera Cup North America and running inside the top 10 very, very impressively. Good start by him. He steered clear of that drama on Seaside Way, and he leads that Pro-Am class from Jeff Mosing in 2nd place, and Alan Metney, I think, had to jump on the anchors to avoid that melee, has lost a couple of positions down in 13th.
in the AM category, and remember, all the cars are identical. It is effectively the drivers that are grouped by their age, their experience, both in life and in racing. And in AM, it's Mark Kwame, who from MDK Motorsport, who is leading from John Getzer in second place for Wright Motorsport, 43 and 57, and the bright orange car of Bill Smith for Top Racing, the 42, in third position, as the ever efficient clean-up crew are going to work, and we are going to need the flatbed recovery vehicle, and that is already down there. Under half an hour to go. It's been a fantastic season for the young Dutch driver who leads the field behind that signal yellow RS GT3 at the front of the field. He's won all 3 races. Pole positions as well have been coming his way. And Jeremy, we were talking about him at Sebring, certainly stamped his authority, or at least certainly showed us his credentials last year when challenging for the championship that was eventually won by the Channel Islander Sebastian Prio in the first year of Carrera Cup North America. But Kai van Berlo coming back this year and building on the experience he has with these new 992 Cup cars was measured and impressively quick and very consistent at Sebring in the first 2 races, and then again yesterday here on the streets of Long Beach.
He's been really, really impressive, hasn't he? And yesterday, just as at Sebring, just thought, be careful in the early stages of the race not to overwork his Michelin tyres and perhaps kind of run out of tyre towards the end of the race. It was a very measured drive, really impressive performance for one so young, and he has got a big future ahead of him, no question about it. You talked about the fact he's raced actually more around the world than he has in his homeland.
True.
He did the Asian Le Mans series, didn't he, a couple of years ago?
Yes, he did.
That's a success down there. So he's a very well-rounded individual. Really nice young man, very, very impressive indeed, and I think he has a big future ahead of him in this sport, and he's certainly making a lot of people at Porsche, I think, sit up and take notice with his performances, both last year when he lost out on the championship to Sebastian Prio, but he won more races than Prio, and this year he's out to set that record straight. Already got 3 wins under his belt, and he's only 1 short of the maximum score possible. This year, unlike last year, there were 5 points for pole position. This year it's just 2, but there is an extra point this year where there wasn't last year for fastest race lap. There are 3 bonus points available for each race, and he's so far gained 8 of the 9 points that have been available prior to this race.
So the clean-up continues. We're under full course yellow and behind the Porsche 911 Type 992 GT3, which leads the field. That'll be back on duty in its Porsche Experience Centre livery. It'll be back on duty tomorrow up at Carson City for various guests of the Porsche Experience Centre to take some fast laps around what is a fantastic facility there, including the workshop behind a big glass wall on the right hand side as you walk in, and some great remedial work going on there to some classic Porsche street and race cars from down through the years. Very fortunate to get behind the scenes there. Not this year, but a couple of years ago now, and see the parts department there for the old Porsche racing cars, including some 956 and 962 stock of parts, which is still wrapped in its, you'll remember this, Jeremy, wrapped in its brown paper covering with the numbers, the part numbers on sticky labels on the outside, and things like brake discs and uprights for 962s kept in stock there up at Carson. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah. That's right, and 917s as well. I mean, you name it, they have it. I was when I first moved out here in the middle '80s, Porsche Motorsport North America and Andile, Alvin Springer and his buddies there. Their shop was based only a few hundred yards from On Track Magazine, where I worked in Fountain Valley. So I used to nip down there every now and again and see some of these glorious cars there being either fettled or restored or whatever. Yeah, tremendous fun. They've moved the operation, as you say, just 30-40 miles north now to Carson. I haven't been to that new facility.
Oh,
yet.
Jeremy,
that's something I've got to do. I know.
No,
well,
listen. Get on the phone up there and book yourself a table at the restaurant at 9:17, and you and Tammy get up there for a night out. It's absolutely fantastic, great cuisine, and an automotive fans, a great place to go. Well, obviously if you're a Porsche fan, it's even better, but the whole thing is just beautifully put together. We're behind that car at the moment. As I said, that'll be back on duty doing its job at PEC LA tomorrow because of the incident earlier on. And just a note from race control in terms of that accident down Seaside Way, incident responsibility and a drive-through for the record for Dimitri Dimakos and in the 11 car, which was involved there, and Varun Choksi as well. So yes, of course they're not going to serve that, because both of those cars are being taken back to the convention centre in their paddock area, and the drivers are out of their cars. But that is for the record, and what race control are doing there is just saying to everyone else on the pit wall, who will pass it on to all the drivers because they are in radio contact, look guys, we're not saying it was deliberate, but that wasn't the driving standards that we would have expected, and squeezing a car in the middle is not where we expect you to be. And that was the Michael McCarthy number 7 car that amazingly got out of that relatively unscathed and is still running in 7th position in class, that number 7, and 7th overall in the pro category. So just for the record, that has been passed through to everybody on the pit wall, and therefore to the teams. So if you're following along away from the track with our live free video coverage that we have for every round of the Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by visitcaymanislands.com, that's why that race control message has come up, and unfortunately it's taking quite a while to get the track surface into a position where we can go back to green flag racing. So there's some fluids down there at the moment towards turn number 9. So we lost almost 20 minutes of the 40-minute race. Kai van Berlo, of course, doesn't care at all, as he is still leading, and he'll have to restart, bring the cars back to the green flag once it is clear to do so. We'll have to quiz him on the rear 3/4 and back end of Porsche GT3 992 road car, because he'll be very well versed in looking at the back of that at the moment. Probably knows the part number on the rear aerofoil by now. I think he's sitting quite close to it, Jeremy, but he's been staring at that bright signal yellow car for quite some time now.
And he'd much rather see nothing right ahead of him, wouldn't he, other than racetrack. You're right, it's been a lengthy clean-up now. We're almost halfway through what should have been the race. So really unfortunate that incident should have occurred. But are the lights off there? Yeah, looks like they are, isn't it? So I think that safety car is now pulling away. I think we're going to get ready for a restart, and let's hope here nobody gets too greedy, and they can just get through the first couple of corners, settle down into a race, and then have a proper race for the final 20 minutes of the 40 minutes that were outstanding at the beginning of the event.
So we have got the two cars, the Wright Motorsport number 13 and the 311 RS number 11 cleared away. Good work by the track services and marshals and corner workers, and it will be Kai van Berlo who sees the green flag with just on 20.5 minutes to go, nearly halfway through the scheduled 40 minutes here. He gets a great restart from TJ Fisher in the Apex GT Silver Top racing car in second place as they go through. Trenton Estep right on the rear bumper of TJ Fisher. Those two battling for second and third. Parker Thompson keeping a watching brief at the moment, and then 2 or 3 car lengths further back is the bright red number 12 311 RS of Lee Keane. He's got the two Michaels, McCann and McCarthy, behind him in 8 and 7 in position 6 and 7, and the top 8 of Pro made up by the number 77, and that is Travis Wiley, the man from Austin, Texas. Then it's the primary leader, Justin Oakes for Nola Sport in that multicoloured car in 9th position. Then Grant Torquay restarted in 10th for ACI Motorsports. Yellow and red flags out on the entry to turn number 9 at the end of Seaside Way. Not the Catalan flag. That is showing that there is something on the track that shouldn't be there in this case. There's some oil dry and potentially still some fluid there from that 2-car accident. We've restarted. Kai van Berlo has done exactly what he needed to do and a bit more, Jeremy, because he's pulled out 1.2 seconds. The battle is on for second place.
Yeah, that's right. He's made an excellent start there, and TJ Fisher holding on as best he can in second place. I think Trenton Estep knows he's faster here, but he's got to find his way past. And after the incident yesterday, he's going to be a little bit more circumspect, perhaps. He's not going to want to push the envelope. He just wants to get some points back on the board because Trenton had a good first weekend of the season, a couple of 4th place finishes, but yesterday had started on the front row. But it didn't end well for him at all. No points at all from yesterday, so he wants to get himself back in championship reckoning. He wants to make sure, first of all, he finishes the race. If he gets second place, great. If you can then go after Kai van Berlo, even better. But right now, a good finish is his primary concern.
Yeah, and this championship in the past, in its previous guises, when it was a Porsche Cup GT3 Cup event, and now in its new for 2021, so into its second season of Porsche Carrera Cup North America, has always been a very tight championship, and not getting the points at one round, having a bad round, can really trip you up when it comes to the end of the season at Motul Petit Le Mans at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. And getting early points. I always think in any sport, whether it's football, soccer, ice hockey, if you get the points early on and you get the points early in the season, get the ticks in the W column, then you're doing a good job. Very seldom do those points get taken away. Not entirely unknown, of course, but get the points in the bag early on and then make everybody else chase you. And that's what Van Berlo is doing in this race and indeed in the season. Healthy championship lead at the moment and 1.7 seconds to the good here as he's on Seaside for the 12th time at the moment, with Fisher, TJ Fisher and Trenton Estep. Silver with the red bumper on the front, the blue bumper on the back for TJ, and then Trenton Estep sitting right in behind on the black and silver with red car. They're second and third. They go across the line now. In behind them, the shell coloured car is Parker Thompson, Canadian driver, over open wheel aspirations, has really thrown himself into this championship in the last couple of seasons. Then Lee Keane in the bright red 311 RS Motorsport as they charge through turn 1. The 4-litre normally aspirated engines using all of their 500 plus horsepower, going down a shoreline drive to the braking area at turn 1. The leader's already through turn 5 and heading towards turn 6. This flat 6 classic Porsche configuration sitting low down and behind the driver of the rear axle. Lots of grip from the back end, and the track in its best condition all weekend. All the rubber has been laid down from Friday onwards. IndyCar having completed its race, and now the Michelin tyres giving great traction here for TJ and Trenton, who are still battling for second position. At the hairpin now, Jeremy, nip and tuck here, absolutely nothing between these two young chargers.
No, I think Trenton Estep probably feels he's got a faster car, but what a magnificent job by the MTK Motorsports team to get that car repaired again. He sent me a picture of it from 11 o'clock last night, did Trenton, and there was no front end. The front end was completely gone. They've got a new clip down from Carson. They've put it all together again, and it's pretty remarkable if you think what that car looked like even 12 hours ago at 5 o'clock this morning when the team left to go back to get a couple of hours sleep. Fabulous job by them. So Trenton Estep, he's got a bit more pace here than he can show, I believe. But Trenton Estep, TJ Fisher, is doing a nice job there in the second place. The Northern Californian, he loves racing on these street circuits as well. Done a little bit in the past on these Road to Indy open wheel days some years ago. And he's taking advantage of that experience now and making it difficult for Trenton Estep.
Yeah, it's a good point you make, Jeremy, because we focus, and rightly so, on the drivers out there on the circuit, but there's a huge infrastructure behind each and every one of these Porsche Carrera Cup cars on the track at the moment from the teams. And whether it's Kelly Moss, Top Racing, MDK, JDX or 311, McCann, ACI, they were particularly busy over the weekend and helping out some of their competitors. Nola Sport, Premier, Irish Mikes. There's some big teams running quite a lot of cars here, and that, Jeremy, takes a lot of logistics and a lot of hard work from the mechanics, the engineers and the team management just to get these cars to the track, never mind when things goes wrong.
Yeah, it is a major exercise, you're right, and most of the races are based toward the East Coast, but this year they'll be racing. The next round of the championship is at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca in a few weeks' time, and in fact all of these teams from here will be going straight up to WeatherTech Raceway for a test on, I think it's Tuesday, Wednesday next week. So that's another reason to kind of look after your equipment, because if you're an East Coast based team and you have dramas out here, you don't want to be rebuilding cars all the time.
Dive down the inside towards the braking area at turn 9 for Trenton Estep, but he thinks better of it. And whilst we're talking about where this series is going later in the year, announced earlier on this weekend here at Long Beach. And touch, come back to that in a moment. Little bit of a bump and run from Trenton Estep on TJ Fisher at the hairpin. They're side by side as they charge towards the stripe, and as they go across the line, TJ Fisher somehow manages to get it back. I wonder if Trenton just lifted off for a moment there and dropped back because he knew he had made contact with the back of that Apex Capital car, and there's a little bit of a damage on the front end and the front luggage compartment. No engine in there, so I won't call it a hood or a bonnet, but you know what I mean, that the hood on that car is just moving around a little bit. Lifted the back Michelin tyres off the ground there, and Estep got down the inside at turn 11, but I think he just lifted off a tiny bit. Problem for Efren Castro as well, as he had to avoid the number 88. That's the Hutton McKenna car, the Wright Motorsport car back in the championship. Great to see the McKenna Porsche colours from round this area as well, of course, the white and yellow. Back in, but making a mistake at turn 8, but he's continued. Meantime, Trenton Estep still harrying the back of TJ Fisher whilst this is going on. Kai van Berlo is 4 seconds up the road, and now I'll finish my thought a lap later than I was trying to get it out. Announced earlier on this weekend, the second edition of the Sports Car Together Festival by Porsche at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That will be the first weekend in September and will include rounds of this championship as it did last year. Really looking forward to getting out there for that one. a real celebration of everything sports car and everything Porsche. And we'll have coverage of that for you if you can't get to that event, as we do with all of the Porsche Carrera Cup North America events presented by visitCaymanislands.com here on IMSA Radio and IMSA TV, as well as on the Porsche Carrera Cup North America social media areas. It's all free and no blocks or breaks. Leading in GT Pro-Am, Justin Oakes for Nola Sports with the multicoloured Drone Works car. He's having a fairly quiet race at the moment, sitting in 10th overall. Got about 7 seconds between himself and anyone behind him, and he's a couple of 3 seconds away from, that'll be Grant Tolke, who's a little bit further up the road. Meantime, Jeremy battles right through the field, but for second place, side by side. Estep gets it done this time, coming out of turn 11, but he's on the right hand side. That's good for the first part of the front stretch, but not as you come down into turn 1. TJ Fisher has the inside line. Who's the last of the late breakers? Fisher is. Brilliant stuff, and Parker Thompson just closing in. A 3-car battle now for second on down.
Super battle between those two. Good respect between them as well. I think you're absolutely right there on that previous lap when Estep got into the tail end of Fisher at the hairpin. I think you're right. I think he might have backed off a little bit and let TJ regain that position again, because he probably had the edge coming off the corner. But this time a nice clean pass there. Well, trying to make a clean pass, I should say, but not quite able to. And TJ Fisher, they're side by side here into turn 8. What a great move that is.
What a move! That is a great move.
He's going to try and make a move as well.
Yeah, he was into the back of the Apex Capital car as they were coming out of turn 8, and in the wall at turn 8, the exit of turn 8, that is the number 8, and that's Michael McCann of McCann Racing. He was in 6th position, Jeremy, in the silver, black and red car, and with 8.5 minutes to go, that might bring out the full course yellow and the safety car. So make your passes now if you can. Parker Thompson's got a good run on the number 58 of TJ Fisher. This would be for third, and the last place on the box down towards turn 1. Tries to get down the inside. TJ from the middle of the road defending, and that was all right. Didn't move about, picked his line and stuck with it. Still second, third and fourth absolutely together with just under 8 minutes to go, and a car in the wall. Inconclusive, the incident involving the numbers 88 and 65 Efren Castro, so that's why Efren slowed down earlier on, and also why Hunter McKenna was going slowly, and he's dropped down to 28th position. That's been looked at by the race control, and the full course yellow is out. Tanny with the double yellows at the starter stand, and they'll be now replicated all the way around the circuit, with that number 8 car dropping down the timing. And Michael McCann for McCann Racing.
He hit the inside wall, John.
Yes,
I think he just clipped that inside apex wall at turn 8.
Yeah.
And that took him straight into the outside wall. So that's a shame for Michael. He's doing a nice job there in that top 6. That's exactly the sort of result he was looking for. It's been a good, sensible. Well, he'd had one top 6 finish prior to this weekend, a couple of top 10s, so he had one yesterday, and but unfortunately he's not going to get one today. That battle, but there's a super battle, by the way, going on for the AM category between 3 cars. Mark Kwame was leading it from John Goetz and Bill Smith. John Goetz has found his way past, actually, in that Wright Motorsports car number 57, so he now leads that AM category from Kwame, with Bill Smith right there in 3rd position as well.
That's Wright Motorsport from MDK from Top Racing. The problem, I think, for Michael McCann is that he's so tight up against the wall on the right hand side that he can't get out of the car, so that they'll have to pull that car away or help him out through the passenger side. 57 is the silver and purple car of John Goetz in the Wright Motorsport machine. He is the leader, as Jeremy has mentioned. Now he's sitting on his own at the moment, so have the other two just dropped off, or has there been an incident there? Because they were very close together. Kwame has dropped back some 7 seconds, but that might just be because of the safety car. Yes, I think it is. Mark realising there was no point no point in fighting. So John gets there, still leading with just on 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, and with a bit of luck, we might, there's Michael out of his car, but it's still going to take a few minutes, isn't it? I rather fear this might not go back to green, which would be a shame. Unfortunately for Michael McCann, I think he just clipped that inside wall, and once you do that on these street circuits, there was a time when there was a sort of fairly substantial curb on the apex of that corner, but that's been trimmed back. It was there to stop people doing exactly what happened there to Michael McCann, but in recent years the suspension systems on the cars are so sophisticated these days, or some cars are so sophisticated these days, that they can ride what previously curbs could not be ridden, and as a result of that, I think that curb has been taken away, and now the cars run pretty much up to that wall, and in some cases onto it, which is what happened there for Michael McCann.
Under 4 minutes now to go. Our leaders in class then, Wright Motorsports number 57, and hello to everybody at Wright Motorsports. I know you're following on at the moment. The 57, John Getz for Wright is leading. Am in Pro Am. It's just in ups for Nola Sports. He's in a very impressive 9th position with a couple of pro cars that are still running behind him, and at the front of the field, Kai van Berlo leads behind the safety car. We've got the AMR safety team there with one of the safety trucks, one of the Chevrolet safety trucks, which is pulling the stricken number 8 car down Seaside Way.
And I don't think we're going to be able to go back to green. The paddock is underneath, well, is to the right-hand side of Seaside Way in the convention centre. So there is perhaps a cutout that they can take that car into. But I think if we don't go green this time around, I think we're going to have to end under yellow, because lap times under caution around about 2.5 minutes. And that's about what we've got left now.
Might get one lap, Jeremy.
Only if we go green this time, I think. John, and I'm not going to do that. So
that's a shame.
It is.
For the first ever visit of Porsche Cup Racing and to the streets of Long Beach, and although we really love that signal yellow colour and the GT3 992 street car, we've seen rather too much of it. Oh, they are getting that car off the circuit, and let's see if we can get the safety cars back. It was about 2 minutes and 25, 2 minutes and 30 when they went across the line. So if that GT3 gets a hustle on now with 2 minutes to go, we might just get a lap. If the safety car lights are out now, it depends what race control. This is the last race of the weekend. We're not holding anybody up. So let's see if that Porsche Experience Centre LA GT3 gets down the road. Very close cousin to these racing cars. It shares the bodywork, and the lights are out on the safety car. It shares the bodywork, it shares the double wishbone front suspension, the extended front track of the 992, and of course the 4-litre flat 6 normally aspirated engine, producing exactly the same. I think it's 5 or 7 horsepower, give or take. It would normally give. It's 500 and plenty. Yes, Jeremy, exactly right. Adequate. Porsche's BHP figures are normally quoted on the low side for their street cars. You ever put a Porsche on a dyno, you'll normally get a little bit more. So we are going to go back, I think, to green flag. And now we get the last lap note on the Alcamel timing screen. So that is confusing me a little bit, because I don't think time will have elapsed when we come to the line. So let's see if we get the white flags on the checkers. I think we're going back to green, and let's have a look at the starting stand. We are. So we go on to the last lap now. If you're watching online, that is not the checkered flag. That is incorrect on the Alcamel timing screen. And we are racing again for another 2 miles. Kai van Berlo, great work by race control to give us a green flag to get us to the end of the race. Green flag given. It would have been a white flag as well for the final lap. And very quickly, our colleagues at Alcamel have corrected that. And now we have the last lap graphic back again on the screen. So Van Berlo from Estep, from Fisher, from Thompson. And it's Van Berlo and Estep who got the jump. They're going down the hill on Pine, turning right onto Seaside Way for the last time, halfway through this last lap. TJ Fisher holding on to third place at the moment. Maybe one more chance for Trenton Estep at the hairpin. He's not close enough at turn 9. Now, is he going to have a do or die banzai manoeuvre into turn 11? The hairpin, he's right there. He thinks about it, pulls out the right. Now it's the sprint to the line. It's going to be a double on the West Coast for Kai van Berlo, and he's won all 4 this season. Brilliant forfeit already for Kai van Berlo, who wins from Estep, and Fisher in third is on the podium from Parker Thompson in 4th position. Then it's Lee Keane and Michael McCarthy making up the top 6. In Pro-Am, Justin Oaks wins for Nola Sport ahead of Efren Castro, who ended in the plants with his Porsche yesterday. Then Jeff Mosing will be third on the Pro-Am podium. And in Am, Mark Kwame wins it from Bill Smith and Robert Hanley. What happened to John Getz then? He drops down to 4th on that final lap. And this is what happened to him on the last lap. There was a bit of argy and, if you will, bargy. And that was coming down to turn number 6. He locked it up on his own, going down to turn 6 and went straight on the western part of Shoreline Drive. John Getz will be kicking himself there from Wright Motorsport. And he's given away not just the win, but he won't even get on the podium. And Mark Kwame, who was one of the injured cars at turn 11 yesterday, is gifted the win in Am, Jeremy.
Yeah, well, what a shame for John. He did a super job yesterday, and everything was going well there, but just got a little bit too late on the brakes. Yeah, the tyres would not have been completely up to operating temperature, so you'd have to brake a little bit early on that first lap of green flag racing, or risk exactly what happened there to John. And yeah, he locks him up and he goes off the road, but it's been a good performance for him, and he'll get back. He did get back on the road, so he does finish in 4th place. But another win then for Mark Kwame in the AM class. That's 3 wins out of 4 for him, and a good comeback from yesterday as well, having been involved in that incident at the hairpin. So what a great day it has been today, and what a change for MDK Motorsports, because Mark Kwame, the team principal, wins AM, and a brilliant effort by Trenton Estep there, who was a little bit quicker than Kai van Berlo on that last lap. But after all the work that team did overnight, for Estep to come home with a 2nd place finish was a fine effort by him. But for Kai van Berlo, he keeps his streak alive and extends his championship lead.
Well, the end of a magnificent weekend here on the streets of Long Beach. IMSA and IndyCar together, and Kai van Berlo keeps the winning streak alive. He's 100%, batting 1,000 at the moment for Kelly Moss Racing, and Jeremy Shaw has the point situation. Clearly, Jeremy, Kai van Berlo will extend his lead at the top of the Pro Championship.
That's exactly right. There's been 112 points up for grabs this season so far. He's got 111 of them. Pretty impressive. In 2nd position, Parker Thompson with a 4th place finish this afternoon in 71 points. He'll be in second place. Third equal on 48 with Riley Dickinson and Trenton Estep. And then the top 5 completed by Lee Keane, who's 1 point ahead of TJ Fisher, who will be in 6th position heading to the next 2 races at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca.
Good run for Justin Oakes inside the top 10 overall. He'll take the Pro-Am victory for Nola Sports ahead of Efren Castro and Jeff Mosing, and that will make that championship rather interesting as well, Jeremy.
Indeed so, yeah. Alan Metney will continue to lead. He led this class for a while after the early dramas. He was 84 points to the 69 of Justin Oakes, 66 of Jeff Mosing.
And Mark Kwame, as we said, Mark Kwame winning in the AM category. We're heading up the coast next time around at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Jeremy and I will be on hand to bring you all the action from rounds 5 and 6 of the Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by visitcaymanislands.com. Thanks to our technical team here trackside and up at Charlotte, all of our camera operators and the marshals around the circuit. Kai van Berlo keeps the streak alive. For Jeremy Shaw, I'm John Hindhaugh. See you in a couple of weeks' time. Bye from Long Beach.